all of us see problems in society. All of us see problems in workplaces and in communities. But I really applaud people who will see that problem and then take initiative to figure out some
Yeah.
solution. Like, that's incredible. Hey everyone, welcome to The Job Box, the career fair and podcast forum where we unpack everyday jobs with the everyday people who work them. I'm Casey Sosa, and today I have my good friend Tess Kelly, or TK as her friends call her. She's been working in the film and entertainment industry for over 10 years in the Utah area, and she's honed her producer skills working in film, TV, sketch comedy, commercials, and recently has directed for Dry Bar Comedy for Angel Studios. She loves to laugh and will do so when earned. So you recently directed for Dry Bar Comedy. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was, I think, 2 years ago now, which, that's recent. And that was with Mystery Box, who's brought on by Angel. Yeah, just work with the local folks that were coming in. Well, I should say local, but work with the folks that were coming in out of town through Dry Bar. Yeah, it was really cool. Met a lot of interesting people. Heard a lot of interesting stuff, and the folks at Dry Bar were great. So it was fun to be a part of that for a little bit.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you like producing more, directing?
Yeah, I feel like I'm more comfortable producing, but directing Dry Bar helped me see like, oh, this is like, I know exactly what to do here. It's just a matter of it's same story with any other type of job where like you just have to be prepared and you have to like know that you can trust your crew and you have to know that like you trust yourself and just get it done, establish good relationships with the client, all the same things that I've done and continue to do while producing, but just in a different capacity. So yeah.
Cool. Well, and we've worked together on a lot of different projects, and it's been really fun to hang out with you on set.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna try to ask, talk a little more about this in a way that feels appropriate for someone who's hearing about this for the first time. And so, so first off, just tell me who you are and what do you do?
Yeah. I work in production as a producer here in Utah. Basically means I'm the one that is handling the logistics, which will include budget, timeline, bringing people on, whether that's finding crew, client liaison type stuff, anything in between, just executing whatever the creative vision is on the client or on the creative or agency. And usually they're about the same vision, but everyone has their own ways of flourishing things. Just executing the creative, working on trying to be more of a creative producer. And I feel like working, like you said, working up in Salt Lake with Boncom as a contractor, I feel like I've been able to flex those creative muscles a little bit more since the content that I've been working on there allows for just more creative thinking and creative problem solving as a team and doesn't necessarily have to land on one person. So that's been really fun for me to kind of explore and navigate and flex those muscles.
And I feel like, a lot of people hear producer and think like, they're the ones like writing the script or like creating the vision, but really it's just like all the behind the scenes work, right? And so like a lot of times in movie trailers, when like someone sees like the producers from such and such movie, it's like, well, that just means they were pulling all the strings behind the scenes, right? Like,
Yeah. And I think, what's great with theatrical and television is once you've been able to get something that is commercially viable, it gets you through the door a little bit easier. Like I've got friends and family who've worked on projects that have made it through some major festivals, and that's like a calling card, right? Where it's like, hey, yeah, we've done this. So we know what people like to see and what is attractive to programmers and what is attractive to folks so that like, yeah, give us some cash and we'll make another really great thing, put your name on it and you'll get to be a part of that. So yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of elements to producing. I obviously more on the ground in the weeds. There are folks that will go out and lock in on more the development deals, like locking in talent, directors, studios, elements of that nature to secure funding when like you're in the development and distribution side of things before you officially are like greenlit and can go spend some liquid cash to like make it happen. So yeah, and it's been fun for me to get to see where a lot of my folks I went to school with have kind of ended up and what they're doing and meeting up with them and catching up on what their world looks like in terms of production, whether it's producing, directing, developing, and anything and everything in between. Because you're kind of, before you're on set, you're making sure that you've got the creative developed and ready to produce. So that can either take years. Commercials obviously take, it's more of a sprint, so it's really quick. But when you're working in the theatrical for like TV and film, it's all just a different type of timeline. So it's just fun to find out where people are and what people are doing and how they stay motivated to keep working on their projects with their teams and collaborators.
Hearing you talk about all the people that you went to school with, it just like I just know the variety that is there in the production world. And so how did you land on producing? Like early on, like how did you get here?
Yeah, that's a great question. I grew up in a family where I had two parents that were creative. My dad went to film school. He ended up doing a lot of advertising in New York and then moved the family out to Utah to teach at BYU in the School of Comms for their advertising program. My mom has always been a creative actress, writer, all those kinds of things. She did a lot of that when she was young and has continued to kind of do that more now that she's retired and can kind of spend more time kind of flexing her muscles again. But so my parents created 9 children that are all creative minded. And I didn't know what a producer did or what it even meant until I went to BYU and was working on a project where one of the faculty was like, "Do you know what?" She said, "I think you should do this." And I was like, "Do what?" She said, "Produce." And I said, "What is that?" And she just like looked around at the office like, "It's this." I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." And so that happened because my older sister was on that project and was like, "Hey, they need help in the production office. So do you want to help out?" And I was like, "Sure." And I was doing other classes, some like computer science stuff, because I had hopes and dreams to be at Pixar. But me and my left side of brain, the coding side, whatever side that means I have to do numbers, it wasn't working out. And I had more fun and I was like more motivated to work on these projects where I was working with these like nerdy film kids. And so that's kind of how I ended up deciding on the film program at BYU. Eventually got in and then just worked with a lot of my friends there and rubbed shoulders with a lot of folks in the ad lab too, because my dad was teaching on that end as well, the College of Fine Arts and Communications. So yeah, I just was able to just quickly make a little network. And for the most part, I've kept in touch with most of those people, not necessarily mean working together, but like knowing what they're up to and supporting them and working with them. So you never know what's going to happen. I mean, I it's good to stay goal oriented and motivated to like work on stuff that makes you feel good and makes you want to bring what your stories are to the screen, whether it's on, a phone or, a theatrical. But as long as you have people around that you can trust and collaborate with, that's the first step. For me, I don't really feel like I need to be defined by what I'm producing at any given moment in time. But if I have the control to create an environment that I want to be a part of, that keeps me motivated. So the stuff that I've been able to work on over the past 3 years isn't what anyone would like want to call home about, but I don't care. Like I'm not motivated by that. There are other people who are, and that's great. That means that we get to watch all kinds of different types of content. And I think that's what's beautiful about living in a world where we have so many different people with so many different backgrounds and with different perspectives that if it's great, it'll rise to the surface. If it's bad, it'll still rise to the surface. It's up to you to decide if you want to go check it out or not. So, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and I think that's cool. Like as a producer, you can decide who you work with essentially. Like you can pull on, someone that you love working with in the lighting department, or you have the ability to pull in actors that you've loved talking with on set, or that's really cool that you can kind of like create your own work environment depending on the production you're working in.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's some people that may or may not want to work with me depending on who I bring on. But my friend and I just did a project last month where the feedback we got every day was, "You guys have put together an excellent crew." And I love hearing that because we all need to, it's a funky world where you're like kind of trapped in a box for like 10 to 12 hours across multiple days. And I think it was Tina Fey who wrote in Bossy Pants. She was like, "You want to hire people that you want to see at 2 a.m. because like that's just how it goes." And that, obviously doesn't mean you're working till 2 a.m. But there are moments where it's like hour 8 and you want to go home. You have 2 more hours left. And if you see someone that's like making you mad, it's gonna, get you out of your mental space, and that, it's not helpful. So I've just found that as I've been working and understanding my limits and my capacities, like I need to bring on people who can help make it happen in a way that is respectful and respectful to them first, and then in turn respectful to everybody else. Because if, in the words of RuPaul, if you don't love yourself, how the heck are you gonna love everybody else? So
Yeah. Yeah, for
thank you,
sure.
Mother Ru. So yeah,
No,
yeah.
that's a great point. And yeah, I think that like yeah, production is unique in that way because a lot of times like, other jobs that you get out there, you're in an office with your coworkers that you work with every day, all day long, or or you have like various pieces of your job where like that is very routine. But in the production world, it's constantly changing and shifting, and so the producer role is like so important because it is like they're bringing together a team
Hmm.
for a limited time, whether that be like a couple years on a feature length production, or like you said, a few hours on a commercial. But either way, it's got to be people who work well together. It's got to be people who like being in the same room and can get things done when time is tight, um and just have a good time as well.
Yeah, there's
So
a lot of hanging around on a set, and that's those are some of my favorite moments, is when you have like 5 or 10 minutes just to catch up with somebody that you've worked with for a while, or somebody brand new, because it kind of helps do I want to work with them again, or will I be able to find another opportunity to work with them again? I guess is the right question, because I'm a contractor and also have a little LLC that my sister and I kind of run together. So because I'm freelance, it's you never know when the next job is. And I'm okay with that. I've worked, for networks and studios and stuff, and have found that at this point in my career, it's better for me to be a freelancer than to be attached to one company. And I also like it because I have more flexibility to kind of select what jobs I want to be a part of, and I'm not necessarily assigned to one person, one client, one type of work culture. And then I get to meet other people from all over, and I get to be able to be sent off other places and do other things, and again continue to flex those different types of producer muscles that are out there. So yeah.
yeah, that's true. I feel like you've like when I've talked to you in the past, like you've been all over the place producing things. You've produced things all over the world, and I think that's like one of the coolest aspects of the production world is like it could take you anywhere. You would do
Hmm.
anything. Like you're not really inside like a corporate box. You're out there making things wherever
Yeah.
they happen.
Yeah, and if you're open to exploring that side of production, there's so many avenues to do that. Like I know there are people kind of in where I am within my career that are doing more than me, and I think that's great because they want to be. They want to be traveling more. They want to be working for a specific type of client. And I think what's nice about Utah is that there are so many types of clients here, because we have our outdoors, our skiing, we have our tourism, that like there are opportunities for all kinds of people to kind of dabble in anything and everything here. And then within that, the Utah Film Commission allows us to have really just a variety of films and some TV. Like Taylor Sheridan's Yellowstone started in Utah and now is taking over like all of Montana and Texas. So it's just neat that like Utah's just kind of this funky little spot where all kinds of people can come and go and kind of get a taste for what our teams look like, what our people look like, and how we work together in compliance with like the many unions and all kinds of things that have to come through to make all these big or small productions happen.
You talk about like the variety of people and that come through here, like because up until recently, the Sundance Film Festival was here in
Hmm.
Utah. Yeah, how do you
Yep.
feel about that? By the way, like
I'm I'm sad about it, and I think it was like, oh gosh, 10 or so years ago, I was working with one of my mentors, Matias Alvarez, and he is a local to Park City. And he was like, yeah, it's like every 5 to 10 years. We don't know if Sundance Institute is going to stick around. And I think because of Robert Redford's passing, it kind of gave them the opportunity to finally leave Utah. That's my theory. Don't quote me on that. But I think I think it's like if people want to take that festival and grow it somewhere else, that's their choice. And that's, I really hope it goes well in Boulder. I know that if it doesn't go well, I know for me as a Utah local, I'd be more than happy to welcome Sundance Film Festival back here. I know the Institute is still based out of Utah, and there's a lot of great things that are happening at the Institute. A lot of labs for producers, writers, directors, anyone and anybody in between can access those. So yeah, I mean, the resort's still here, so that's great. And we still have our beautiful Provo Canyon, thanks to all of Robert Redford's incredible conservation efforts. So I'm so grateful to Robert Redford. He really has done so much, not only for film, but for Utah as a state. Like he really put in the work to make sure that we have some incredible places to work and live out of. So thanks, Bob. We love you.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Did he kind of like start the Institute then?
Yeah. So it was brought to him by Sterling Van Wagenen as the Utah, I think, independent film something. He saw the potential for it and created the Sundance Institute, which is based out of the Sundance Resort, where they'd have everyone from Don Cheadle, Quentin Tarantino, all kinds of people come and do these really exciting little labs where they just kind of formulate and develop and just film scenes, produce little pieces that then would get them to make whatever they want to make, and then in turn, like kind of bring it back to the festival. So that was in the 80s. And I think Sundance was at its 40th year last year, a couple years ago. And while he was doing that, he also was like, I want to take care of this beautiful canyon where the resort is, and really, really protected a lot of the resources we have that we get to benefit from now as locals and as people who come in and out of the state, like in terms of like the Provo River and all kinds of things. I like didn't know that until I lived in Utah as a teenager, that like he'd done so much. So I love the resort. I love going up there when I can, and
Yeah,
love just like basking in the majesty of Mount Timpanogos and everything. So yeah, he like would work with the local indigenous folks to make sure that like things were okay, just like stuff like that where you don't hear that about a lot of people. And I feel like he could have probably waved that green flag higher if he wanted to, but he was a busy guy and had other things to do. But I just really respect the crap out of him. So
yeah, I'll have to look more into that because
yeah,
I didn't really know. Like I knew that he had started the festival, but I didn't know about all of the just the collaboration with the locals and preservation, and so really
yeah,
cool.
and I think while he was doing it, he was kind of he was acting differently than the locals were, because he could see like, oh, we got to take care of this place, and people were like, huh, what? They're like, he had to fight pretty hard against like the local government to like make sure that things were happening, but they listened,
Well,
thank goodness.
I'm gonna kind of move into the next section of this, which is
Great.
which I call the good, the bad, and the break room. So
That was crazy.
So
That was crazy, Casey.
the good, the bad, and the break room, where I want to discuss the best parts about your job, the worst parts, and then just like the in-betweens. Like we already discussed it a little bit, like the work-life balance aspect, but yeah, let's get into it. What are the best and the worst about the job?
Yeah, I'll start with the worst, just so we can get that out of the way. I think the worst is when people are not communicating, and that can happen on smaller levels, and it's like, boop, you just nip that in the bud. But on the larger levels, like people don't know what's going on. And I find that that's where I run into that the most is just with clients usually. And it's, communicating is hard because film has such a specific type of language, and depending on the size of things, you have to like basically teach a new language to a client every time you're working with them. That's where I feel like the hardest battles for me to fight are in just making sure everyone is aligned and understand what's happening and what needs to happen, so that when we're all wrapped up and it's clean and we've like said, okay, here you go, we did it, that like everyone understands what has gone on, and everyone's done all the things to keep it a nice clean wrap, and we finished the job and delivered, and everyone feels good. So yeah, that would be that's probably the worst that I've experienced. And then because like I'm kind of going through my little Rolodex of trauma, and it's been the communications is where the biggest pratfalls have happened, where you just like fall flat on your face and you're like, how'd I get here? And then you kind of like do your "That's So Raven" moment where you, like, kinda see into the future or the past and kind of realize what the heck happened. And what's hard is as a producer, a lot of that is your wheelhouse. You're communicating. You're telling everyone what's gonna happen. You're telling everyone how it's gonna be executed. You're telling everyone what to expect at the end. You're telling everyone to expect during. That if one of those things doesn't line up, everyone just looks at you and they're like, "Hey." And you're like, "Ah, you're right." That I think for me, having enough self-awareness to know that that is on me makes me a really great producer because I know that I have to double check my work, whether that's like myself or bringing on someone to help me, execute whatever task has to happen. Because at the end of the day, people want to come and go and they want to go home. They want to be there all day. I know I don't. I like going home and people want to get paid and they want to get paid on time. So, yeah, it's probably like just the communication, making sure that everything is dialed in. And sometimes that might mean, facing it. Like
Hmm.
there's so many things I don't want to do. If I don't do them, it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be bad for everybody, but mostly for me because if I don't do them, they're still not gonna get done. So it's just like
Hmm.
communicating, understanding that those things have to happen, and if things don't have to happen, let those things go. Don't worry about it
Hmm.
because that's something that either they said they do or just you don't have to worry about it. And if they bring it back up to the surface, you'll deal with it when it has to happen. But like just focus on what you have to do and don't do anybody else's job because that's when it gets messy too, is when you insert yourself into places. And again, it kind of all comes down to that communication.
Totally. Yeah, I can totally see how being a producer, you could get into the brain space of like, I just need to make sure everything happens. But that's the thing is like, yeah, it's a team effort. Some people are, like I'm sure there are some directors who take on more than others. And so it's just like a balance of like knowing who works in what way. But I was going to say that like, I think like you have like the perfect personality for something like that just because you are so flexible and like willing to work with people and also own the things that may or may not even be on you. Mm.
Well, in communication from beginning a project, like you get a call from somebody for like a bid, like it starts there. It's like once the knock on the door happens and you open it, whoosh, that's what I'm referring to is just the overall communication on a job. So,
Yeah, totally. And yeah, I've definitely been on a set where things are well communicated and everyone knows what's up. And I've been
mhm.
on a set where it hasn't been well communicated and things are just messy and you can
Yes,
tell immediately.
yeah,
And so when you do get to set and you know it's been well communicated, everything goes so smooth and yeah, it's
so
great.
smooth. It's the best. It's
Yeah,
the best. Yeah, I'm all about over communicating. That even like if I'm working with somebody, I'm like, was that too much? Like, no, I thought that was great. I was like, okay, cool, because I just like to ask all the questions immediately so that we get answers. We know where people are assigned to different tasks and all that good stuff. That that's just what I found. So
totally. And I
yeah,
think
communicating.
one of the pieces of communication that like I think a lot of people like graze over is like communicating about your communication style. Like that's one thing that I feel like is so important, but like doesn't always happen. Like even like it's what I like to do it. It doesn't always happen,
Hmm.
but when you're able to discuss like, okay, so how do you usually take feedback or give feedback, or like how do you like to like are we talking over messages, is it all email, is it, yeah, and then just like discussing different ways that you discuss things is so important sometimes because you might have such a different communication style than somebody else. And then when that happens, there could be potential for a lot of conflict.
Yeah, exactly. And I think for me, like not being afraid to be like, hey, I know you're not getting back to me. So what's the best way to get these answers from you so that I'm not bothering you or getting in whatever you're trying to accomplish. I don't know your life outside of this project. So like I don't want to, come in too hot or whatever et cetera. So yeah, I think having everything you just said is super helpful because yeah, you just got to know how to get the information in a way that benefits both parties so that everyone gets what they need and hopefully on time so that you can walk in feeling ready to go, and you can leave feeling like you got everything you needed and then deliver a really great product. I feel like with me, I know I'm continuing to learn more about how I work with others. I'm still pretty new in terms of my career. I'm youngish, whatever. That like I do need to have a specific type of person on a project, or else I start to unravel, and that's not good for anybody, especially me. But I have just learned that, like, okay, if I have someone on a project that's a little bit difficult or just like out of the ordinary than what I usually have, I need to be an adult about it and still be polite and kind. And sometimes I'm not. I've had difficult days where I've just been either too tired and like have like been a little catty or just not polite. And people have seen that. I'm like, sorry, I'm not perfect either. Just so that like I can, just so people aren't like, ooh, Tess is in a bad mood. Like we got to walk on eggshells, because I don't need people walking on eggshells around me. I just need people to respect me. But if I accidentally bring on a person that isn't respectful of me, that's when I, start to get frustrated. It's because I'm like, oh, that was my hire. Like I made that mistake, or I didn't know that this person was going to act this way. Now I have to deal with it for the next, X number of hours or X number of days. But don't be a brat. Just get through it. You've seen worse, Tess. So just be an adult and get the job done. So, that's what I have to. That's what I have to tell myself sometimes. And then we just carry on. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, like I feel like, you may have had one of those bad days on set, like when I'm there, but like I've never noticed it. So
That's
either
good.
you're really great at making it seem like you're having a great day, or
That's
just
great.
yeah.
The masking is working. God bless it. Yeah. No, it's hard. I mean, like, I think it's just my self-awareness and my anxious brain being like, is everything okay? And then just buzzing around and, and I always like to like have a space wherever I'm working where I can just like go and be for a second. Like, so I'm not just like hovering over everybody, just so that I don't have to, because I like to hire people that are just going to go do it and I don't have to worry about them. But when I have to start worrying, that's when I'm like, oh gosh, I have other things to do and I would like to not be worrying about you. So it's all crazy.
Sure.
It's all crazy out there. But yeah, it's a lot of moving parts, and communication is just, I feel like the core of all of it. So yeah.
You brought up something in there of like when you need a moment, just like stepping away, finding space for yourself, and I think that's a really important like tool to have in your belt. Like that's something that like earlier on in my career, I was just like, oh, I just got to stay on. I got to stay here. I got to keep going. And that was not great. It wore on me, wore on the team. And so, but yeah, like very recently I figured out that magic of just like stepping away for a minute, taking a few breaths, having a moment to yourself, and then coming back, and it feels a lot better. So
yeah, and you can, whether it's the same perspective or not, you can just come back in just a little more calm. Like whenever, so I play tennis recreationally. I'm not that good, but one of the tips that my instructor gives me is like, if you're in the middle of a serve and you fault on the first one, just like take a breath, like shake out your body a little bit, like maybe like move your racket from one hand to the other, and just like clear out the noise so you can like feel ready and like to go again. And I feel like that's what it is. It's just like having a moment to find some calm, and we all need that. We need that when we aren't working. You can find that by playing a song, going for a drive, walking your dog, actually making a meal and not door dashing. That's a comment on on me and my lifestyle. I'm bad at making food. That it's like you feel good when you are using your hands somehow other than just using them to watch something on your phone or using a remote, even though we love that too. But it's like, it's good to just get out of the space and to come back into it, whatever you're doing. So
totally. Yeah. I love that. There was a book that was recommended to me about, it's like, and it's all about how tennis is such a good metaphor for life. What was it?
There is a book called like Tennis and the Game of Life. I think I got it for my sisters for Christmas.
The Inner Game of Tennis.
Yes.
Was that what it is? Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Actually, Phil, my creative director, for those don't know him, but yeah, he recommended it, and I think it's great.
Yeah, I should. Well, if he's recommending it, then I should read it. No, I'm just kidding. Not that I have to go off of a man's opinion, but my sister read it and she really liked it, so I just need to do it. Mm-hmm. Again, bad at reading, but one thing at a time. Don't rush me.
Can't be good at everything, Tess.
No, I can't. Thank goodness. Ugh, that'd be terrible if I was. It would be so boring.
It would.
Anyway. It would be. It would be.
Which, okay, but speaking of men's opinions, right? Like, okay,
Oh
we.
no, I shouldn't have said anything.
Well, okay, I want to know your perspective on this too, but I feel like the film industry in general is for the most part pretty great about like equality, like compared to other industries. Like there's a lot of like more corporate industries that are still very like
Mhm.
male dominant, but I think for the most part, the film industry has been pretty progressive in that way, and isn't as traditional as other corporate industries are and have been.
Yes, I will. I'm going to disagree with you 100% on what you
Okay,
just said,
cool.
but that's because I love you and I know that this is a safe space.
Totally. Yeah, yeah. I want to hear it.
I will say I think I'm glad that it looks like that to you.
Hmm.
In my experience, it still has a long ways to go because just of the fact that like a lot of the people that are in the rooms making decisions are still very male and very oriented to the corporate kind of way of looking at things. That there is a long way to go, I think, but there has been progress. Like, I don't want to discount the progress. Like, we have amazing women who have been in it for so long and are continuing to help everyone understand where the gaps are and where opportunities for women have been and are continuing to lack so that they can help them get those opportunities. One of my heroes is Ava Duvernay. She is the owner, founder, well, yeah, of Array, Array. And she started as a publicist in the industry while she was working a full-time job, got like a degree doing like online classes at UCLA, did like her first tiny little micro budget feature for like barely any money. Her second feature got into Sundance. It's called Middle of Nowhere. And I saw it and I got to like talk to her at this little forum called the Windwriter Forum. It was where it was a bunch of universities that have that are also like religious based as well. So like BYU kind of was able to like kind of be a part of it. Basically, it was like faith-based universities,
Oh, okay,
essentially.
cool.
So and they were bringing in directors that were at the festival to talk about their films, and she got to be one of them. And so that was really cool because Middle of Nowhere is a narrative. It's a feature length narrative about a young woman who has to deal with her husband going to jail and just kind of what life happens to her in that period of time. And one of the things that Miss Duvernay wanted to like focus on was like having people see how terrible it is for the family member to like go to prison, to like go visit the person in jail, all those things. I'd never seen that before, really. Like I'd like seen like scenes where like you're talking to your loved one, like, in the like corridor, like assigned, with like the warden watching or whatever. And I'm probably using the wrong language, but like a supervised visit. Like I'd seen those portrayed, but it was moving for me. And she kind of brought up how like there's needs to be a lot of prison reform and all this stuff. And I was like, oh, it was the first time for me that I had like been able to see you can use this storytelling tool, filmmaking, to open people's eyes to the world. Like because of her and her work, she then did like a documentary called 13th, which is about the 13th Amendment. And she had really amazing folks on there. Brian Stevenson, who has started EJI, another hero of mine, the Equal Justice Initiative, getting innocent folks off death row. He has a book called Just Mercy. Michael B. Jordan was in an adaptation of it like 5 or so, or maybe 6, 8 years ago now. So like it's just crazy how one person can literally just open up your whole world. And she is also sorry, back to film. I got on my little TK tangent, but back to her. So with her studio Array, she saw that women weren't getting opportunities to be directors on like TV shows because they needed to direct a pilot of television first. And then studios and companies would feel better about like bringing them on to a TV show. So what she did was she created a freaking TV show called Queen Sugar. And for the first season, it was only female directors because she'd been told by so many people, well, where are they? Where are they? Like, we don't know where they are. She's like, I'll show them to you. So like just that her like Herculean efforts of just being like, no, we can do this. We are capable. We are out here. We are working. Hire us. And she just did that. She did that. And I think it's incredible. And she continues to work on and create content and support people to be like, no, we're out here and we're creating stories and we want to use this platform because everyone else is using it. So why can't we? But yeah, she's amazing.
I love when, someone will like see a problem. That's the thing is like all of us see problems in society. All of us see problems in workplaces and in communities. But I really applaud people who will see that problem and then take initiative to figure out some
Yeah.
solution. Like that's incredible that she pulled together a team of female directors to prove that
Yeah. To be
they're
like,
out there. Like that's incredible.
they're here and they're ready to work. Like put them to work, and they're good. They're just as good as anybody else. They're like, I think we put a lot of pressure on what a director should be. And I
Hmm.
think women are capable of anything. And I think they're often discounted. And so to have folks like Ava DuVernay be like, no, we're just as good, maybe even better. Give us a chance. Oh, you're not going to give us a chance. We'll make it happen for us without you so that you can hire us. Because she says something where she said this many times, if your dream only includes you, it's too small. And I don't think many men are saying that. I haven't heard many men say that. And I will also say this, a lot of Black women, because she's a Black woman, a lot of Black women are out here doing the work in and outside of film. And I love them for it. Like without them, we wouldn't have a lot of incredible progress that has been happening in the industry, globally, politically. They just are unafraid and incredible. And I respect them and love them for it. So those are my thoughts.
No, I love that, and I think, and that's really good to know, so I'm curious, like, what are some ways that like people can make the industry more, just like more equal?
I think just putting the label equal on it is tricky, mostly because I'm trying to figure out how to say this. I found that when I feel like I'm able to do my job, my life in the best setting, it's usually because I'm surrounded by folks who are thinking similarly to me. They might not be thinking all the same thoughts and have all the same tastes and watch all the same things, read all the same books and drive all the same cars, wear the same clothes, but we're able to have discussions and we're able to make it happen. I've found that it's usually women. Some men are safe enough and I bring them in and like we're close and we're able to work together. But then there are people that like women that I work with that will start saying like, oh, you and that we're not aligned. And that's fine. That's okay. Like it's your life. But I think my advice would be don't discount something you don't know until you've tried it yet. And that goes for everything. Like everyone has their taste in everything, right? That it just is a matter of facing whatever fears or worries or concerns you have about how that person might think or feel about you. That's going to be on them no matter what. You can't control that. Like I can't control how people feel or think about me. I can present myself. I can be me. I will be me. I'll be me on a good day. I'll be me on a bad day. I'll be me on a day in between. But I'm not going to like be fully myself with you or fully feel comfortable with you until like that. Oh, it's reciprocity. It's more reciprocal than equality for me. Like there has to be reciprocation. So I would say it's less about equality and more about reciprocation and making sure people feel like they can be heard, they can be hired, they can be a proper collaborator in a situation. So
Totally. Yeah. And
yeah.
I think that those types of relationships where you have like that mutual respect, like,
Hmm.
I know that there have been some projects that you and I have been on where, I'll come back with like my casting selects and you'll be like, well, okay, but let's make sure that we're thinking about, we got to get like some good variety in there of,
Hmm.
make sure that everyone is represented. And so I
Yeah.
really appreciate those conversations that we can have that
Yeah. Yeah.
discourse. And so yeah, it really is just so important that everyone just respects each other in the same way and is open to hearing each other out, open to hearing opinions that
Hmm.
you may or may not agree with, and
Huh.
then just having like a real talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think allowing, yeah, just like as much as you can. And it honestly it depends on the day, it depends on the hour, to be honest, in terms of having those conversations. But also like calling out something that is might feel very wrong to you. I think that's okay too. Now we're getting super philosophical and we're not talking about film, but it's just what happens, right? Like these you kind of come into these workplace settings and then you take it to the, an 8 to 10 hour day and you get sometimes you're traveling, sometimes you're not. And you just have these moments where you do get to have really beautiful conversations with people and you get to know them. And it's nice. It's fun for me. Because I get to learn from people. I get to like take parts of those, parts of that. I carry that with me, and if I don't want to carry it, I won't carry it. But like the parts that speak to me will speak to me. So yeah, I think like equality isn't the answer. I mean, like obviously equal pay, yada, 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 all that stuff is very, very incredibly important in making sure the conditions and work environments are safe. But the way to make that happen is for there to be mutual respect and like proper reciprocation so that people feel like they can be seen, they can be heard. It's not just a tyrant making the calls, because I've been in those settings and it's terrible. Would not recommend. So
For sure.
and yeah, and being brave and willing to call it out, walking away. There have been projects that I wish I just fully walked away from, but didn't know that I had the ability to, because there's also, in terms of the culture, the thing that I'm always fighting is, this is your job in this life. Now your life is dedicated to this one job. And I don't believe that. It's literally impossible to do. It causes burnout. It causes a lot of mental health issues. It causes health issues. I need to experience life so that I can come back a fuller, more well-rounded person and like respect myself and in turn respect others. So
Yeah.
that's how I feel about it.
100%. Yeah, that balance is so important, because yeah, if you can't do the things you love outside of work, then you're not going to show up at 100%. So okay, so what about the good aspects of the job? We talked about it
Okay,
a
yeah.
little bit, like
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if this is job related, but I like to find out what people are watching, what people are listening to, what people are getting inspiration from. There's so much out there. I'm way behind on my work, just in terms of that list. That I think the good is just like finding your community and build and continuing to build up that community, whether it's working in it, supporting it, and everything and anything in between. And like, yeah, the project I just did with a friend of mine, he and I've known each other for years, and we brought somebody on and I said, "Hey, just so you know, if like you think that we're just like really sarcastic and like super jaded, we are, but we're just having fun here and it's just going to be a good time." It's like we try to keep it light so that when stuff does hit the fan, no one is like going to be mad at you, because inevitably stuff is going to hit the fan and you're going to have to clean it up. So like keeping it light, keeping it fun, but also taking it serious while doing that so that everyone has a really lovely time and knows that they're taken care of. So those are my favorite parts, is just creating a space where you can enjoy what you're doing and feeling motivated to go to the next job. So yeah, that's what I would say.
cool. Cool. Yeah, I also love that part. Just getting to see someone that I met on a previous set or something.
Hmm.
It's like,
Yeah.
hey, catching up, and then
Yeah.
being able to to get inspired by what other people are inspired by. That's great. The next thing I want to talk about is the section I call the bacon. All right, so let's talk about the money. Um,
Great. I love talking about money. It's my favorite thing. It's not my favorite thing.
as far as producing goes, what's the money like from, like, right when you enter the industry to a more experienced pay?
Yeah, I don't know how well I'm going to answer this question, but I will say that like what I've seen is, yeah, you're starting usually basic level, basic entry level as a production assistant, and that just depends on what people are going to be paying you. I think when I was starting, it was like 150 to 200 a day. I think now it's more like, I hope it's higher. I know that when I can pay people, it's higher than that. Um, and I would be able to tell you what I made in a year 10 years ago, because I can't remember. I did file my taxes, so don't come for me, IRS. But I think, and I think what's tricky is most folks who are starting are coming in as freelancers. They want to get into it. And so Utah doesn't have like a series that like one person can like hop onto. Actually, no, that's a lie. Marshall's is happening right now. That my recommendation for anybody that is interested and is like coming out of college or whatever education, there's always going to be a state film commission. And that state film commission can connect any person to producers who are either working on the project or, local, production companies that like might need help. Like I know in California, there's obviously more studios. There's more established, kind of easy to access places. And similar in Utah, like there are production companies here that have been around that have been producing stuff locally, and they're getting work consistently. So my recommendation would be reaching out to those people, and they'll be able to hopefully get you consistent work. But my guess is like if you're coming into it pretty early, it's probably about the same as it was 10 years ago, where it's like 30 to 40K a year, maybe, or less than that. I don't know. I really can't. Like, this is where I'm like, I don't know. Because I just was making enough to survive, and like was bad at budgeting 10 years ago. I'm better at it now. I know what I want to, where I want to put my money. So like now that I'm like in it, I'm like making probably more like, I hope it's good. I hope it's more than, I don't know, Casey.
Yeah.
I'm making
No.
enough. I think for me, it's like within the past, yeah, probably past 5 years. I know what my worth is in terms of what that rate looks like. And I know what I feel comfortable paying people that I'm hiring for the first time. And so when I'm bringing someone onto a project, it's just me and them kind of having that quick discussion, whether it's over the phone or via text or email, whatever way it is. But like I know what I pay people, and I know what I want to be making, and I know what a level of work is required for the job. That like I my one of my least favorite things is bringing on somebody that I'm overpaying and they're underperforming as a worker. And it's happened like, I don't know, not that often, but when it does, I'm like, "Ugh." So, um, and also it might be a reflection of me, of like me not communicating exactly to them what this is. But I feel like I'm pretty good at communicating what the work is going to look like and how it's supposed to be and how they should bring them, how they should carry themselves in the setting. So,
Yeah. Well, and the
but
tricky
yeah,
thing about freelance, like, I mean, I've freelanced a bit, and one of the hardest things for me is knowing how to price myself, like knowing
yep,
what
hmm,
to charge for a certain
yeah,
project, because there it's so all over the board. But that is kind of the responsibility of the freelancer, is to know how much they're worth and know
yeah,
what to charge, even though that
yeah,
is such a difficult thing to do.
yeah. And I've even had it happen where some someone reached out and they're like, "Hey, I'm gonna loop you in on this project I'm doing." If they tell me we have this much money, I'm like, "Oh, you can't afford me." That you will all be better served if you can figure out how to do this internally. Like everyone will have a better time because I'm not going to be motivated to do the job if I'm getting pennies. So yeah, I think knowing your worth, understanding that like uh, you're not going to get that on every job, but like knowing where what that looks like is super helpful too, because I might bring a person on a project and might not have the budget to hit for what their top amount is. But then I'll have another one, I'm like, oh, actually, no, we can totally do that rate you talked about like X number of months ago. Like, let's do it. And so that's what I would say is like money wise, just like know what the like basic rates are for like that basic entry level. And then as you get that experience, just be familiar with what the rates are for a coordinator, for a supervisor, for everything up until you're producing and making it happen. So that's my advice about the dollar bills. So
I love that. And I think like, as you know, as you're in the industry, you'll get to know a lot of people, and that's the time when you can ask those questions, like, how much are you charging? How much do you think I
hmm,
should charge? And then also, I think like there's no harm in like asking what the budget is too, like,
hmm,
like
yeah,
if you're
always.
yeah, like I think that's something that I don't know if a lot of people are willing to like ask that, but especially early on, because they just don't know what they can expect. But if you ask like, what is the budget, then then sometimes they will tell you, and you'll have a better idea of what you can charge for it.
Hmm, hmm, yeah, exactly.
Okay. So this next part, I want to know what I call your note to self, which is looking back on your career journey. What advice would you give your younger self?
That's a great question. My advice would be you're doing great. Stop overthinking everything, but don't underthink anything. And yeah, keep like following your gut in terms of the people that you want to be working with, and it'll help you find your community faster. Um and don't ever, sorry, I'm saying don't a lot. And do continue to listen to your parents, because your parents are the best. So that's what I would tell my younger self. And yeah, like just have fun. Keep having fun, but you're doing what you want to do. So just don't stop. Like keep it up. And yeah. that's what I would. Yeah, I feel pretty good about where I am. I mean, I was talking with some friends and family like the other night, and yeah, I was actually with my sister and my niece, and because my niece is like has one more year left of school, and I was just like, we were just talking about how just like that final senior year is like kind of tricky because you like want to be done, but you're like worried and you're going to be moving on and like all this stuff. And, their classes are like just are pains in the butt that you can't avoid because it's just the part of the academic experience. And I had like hopes and dreams when I was younger. And I don't feel like I've let any of those go. I feel like I'm still a dreamer in terms of like projects and people I want to work with. Does it happen as fast as you want it to? It can, but it usually doesn't, and that's okay. And I think just staying open and not getting discouraged because stuff is going to happen that you have no idea is coming. Like that's just like good and bad, but those experiences like just kind of keep you in balance and keep you checked in as to like, do I feel like I'm doing what I want to be doing? Am I around the people that support me? Do I need to like make a big environment change? Or how do I do that? Like all those things. Like I respect anybody who makes those big moves and commits to them. And even if it's like a big move, like changing your whole environment, the little moves help you get to that big move. So I think it's just like staying close to who you are will just help you no matter what happens. So that's my advice to my
I
younger
like
self.
that. And I
I think she
like
did a great job.
that's
So
awesome.
yeah.
And well, and I think it's easy when you're early on in your career or entering the job market to feel like you don't you're not moving as quickly as you'd like. But I really like that emphasis on the small steps to get to where you're going, because it's the little relationships you make along the way. It's the minor decisions that keep your focus on what you want to be doing for the rest of your life. And
Yeah. And
yeah.
and I think if there's ever a point in anyone's career or life where they have to make a huge shift that's like out of the ordinary or what they weren't expecting to, that's okay as well. I think it's like it's healthy to do that too. As long as it feels right, and if it feels wrong, like we'll get to right. That's also, it's living, loving, laughing can be hard sometimes. So it's just a matter of making sure you're doing what feels correct and also not hurting others or yourself along the way, because that's what we don't want to see. So
Yeah, absolutely. What advice would you give to someone who is like interested in the production world, like coming into the industry, and like what's the first move?
I I would say the first move is like knowing what types of content is speaking to you and then like finding out who's making stuff like that where you are or just finding out who the creators are of those types of works, because if you're wanting to fuel that fire of like, oh, I want to be attached to stuff like this, that's always really smart. And if those people aren't around, finding what the local productions and what the folks are doing right now so that you can start working and what rubbing elbows with and getting to know folks out there. I have a reputation of people not knowing who I am or what I'm working on, and I like to keep it that way. So we'll see what happens when this podcast comes out, Casey. So if people start flooding my DMs, I'm just going to send them to you. So you have to field everything for me. Thanks. Bye.
This last little bit I want to get into is just your future commute, which
Mm.
for that's what's your next move. Here you are on your way.
Whoa. It's like Brad Pitt drove right by me. It's like F1. That was crazy.
You're in the car with him, I guess, because this is
Oh
your
no,
this
I
is
don't want to
all
be in
this
his
is your
car. Ew, gross. Ew, gross. Not him. Give me that other guy. I can't remember his name. Samson
any
Idris. There it is.
oh
I got it.
yeah, okay.
There it
I
is.
can see the appeal there.
There it is. There it is. Okay. I feel like for me, I definitely want to continue to flex like my creative producing muscles. Like I've got some ideas for shows and projects and things that I feel like I need to finish, and I want to get those out there somehow, some way. Obviously, I like to collaborate with people, and some of my collaborators have been tied up in some other stuff. So it's that fun waiting game where it's like, is now when we finally make it, or do we have to keep waiting? And what do I have to do to like be ready to go when given that opportunity? So I definitely am very lucky to have folks in my corner and vice versa, that like we were kind of talking about this the other day, where it's like we're all really good at what we do, but we're bad at like the sales nature of it all in the industry. Like I'm so bad at that because I just don't like hyping myself up in that way at all. Like I hate it. It doesn't feel good. And I just find it funny because I'm just talking about how do things that make you feel uncomfortable, but I don't want to do that. Like just, yeah, I feel like just being ready to go for it. And I think I usually am ready to go in terms of like, if someone's like, hey, we're going to do this. Do you want to? And it's checks all the boxes of like, we got a great team. We're going to communicate. We're going to have a nice time. And if it's stuff I want to, am motivated to see through, awesome. That's like the best of all. So future self, hopefully I'm working on some larger things. If I'm not working on larger things, the smaller things are still keeping me motivated. And I get to meet great folks like you and have these really lovely conversations. So, and still have time to go travel and live my life. Like I want to keep living my life the way it has been helping me and others so that I can keep growing. So yeah.
And I hope I get to hear about all of it too, because yeah, all of your work that I know of is really cool, and
that's great.
It's great to hear about your both your work and your travels and all of that. So
well, thank you for having me. I hope my rambles weren't too rambly and that you got some good stuff, because this was fun.
And thank you for listening. You can look forward to more episodes every Monday morning on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube.